I am so relieved that I loved the first episode of the Debbie Reynolds Show. That's Debbie. It aired in 1969, directed by Ezra Stone. And in this first episode, it's initially about setting the scene, introducing us to the characters, individuals who I believe will be key players going forward, but also establishing who Debbie Thompson is. Debbie Thompson is, of course, played by Debbie Reynolds. I like the fact that the character was called Debbie. I think that works quite well. And I have to say, one of the main reasons why this episode is fantastic is because of Debbie Reynolds' performance. I love her passionately, and I was so looking forward to watching this, and I have to say, she just exceeded all of my expectations. So there will be some spoilers in this discussion in a moment. I will give some initial thoughts, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail about the actual narrative itself. But I will say, first of all, love the theme song. With a little love. It's absolutely beautiful. Really lovely way to start off the episodes. So some spoiler-free thoughts to begin with. It opens with Debbie and her husband Jim, and we also have Debbie's sister and Debbie's sister's husband, her brother-in-law. And I think that was a really nice way to introduce us to some of the key characters straight away, and to help us to get a good introduction to who we will be seeing in episodes going forward. And that scene itself actually felt a little bit wooden. Not necessarily the acting, but it felt a bit stilted, because it felt like it was a theatre show, and it felt like the set was restricted. And the great thing about television is that you can do things that you can't do in a theatre show. You can have better camera angles and stage things slightly differently, but the living room is set up exactly like it's on a stage. And I thought, oh no, is the whole episode, the whole show going to be like this? It isn't. It does get better. Things do start to feel more like a proper sitcom rather than a stage show. It is obviously filmed in front of I say it's filmed in front of a live studio audience. There is a laughter. I'm not entirely sure if it's a laugh track or not. But either way, having that laughter gives the air of a live studio audience. Whether or not they're there, I'm not sure. But that further made it feel like I was watching a filmed or televised stage show. But once we moved away from the living room and we went to the bedroom, things really picked up. And I have to say, actually, I'll keep that as a spoiler, because there's something that I just loved. And from this point on, the episode became beautiful, and all of my fears that it would be like a filmed stage show completely just went away. So spoilers from now. I'm going to discuss things in a little bit more detail. I'm not going to discuss ultimately what happens at the end of the episode, but I will give a few little bits of detail. Debbie is trying to get a job writing for the paper. Her husband writes for the paper, and she thinks she's got a scoop. And she's... Well, it's everything surrounding the golf caddy. I won't say any more than that, but I'll say the scenes in the house when she was being the golf caddy were beautifully done. Really fabulously acted, very entertaining, and when she opened up her jacket and shouted, "It's your wife," it just floored me completely. Beautifully performed, really. The thing about Debbie Reynolds is that she's an amazing comedian, and she was always an amazing comedian even before she became an actress, and her comedic timing is just spot on, and this is no different. The scenes outdoors, I love the fact that we went outside to a different location, because it helped to further take me away from that thought that it felt like a stage show. And I think those scenes were done very well, but I preferred the scenes in the house with the golf caddy. But the scene I was going to mention a moment ago, or the moment I was going to mention, is when we're in the bedroom and Debbie just shoots out from under the bed, and I didn't see it coming, and I absolutely loved it. And from that point on, I felt like it went from an intriguing sitcom to a finely crafted, very entertaining piece of art. And it made me so excited to see what else is in store for the rest of the episodes. And honestly, I really thoroughly enjoyed it. That's Debbie was a brilliant introduction. Debbie Reynolds is just perfect, and she's just one of the most amazing performers and fantastic comedians ever. And I'm so glad that Debbie Reynolds Show exists. And I have to say, I can't wait to see what else it has in store. This was a really brilliant start.